Greetings, my fellow free and low sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to LL3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the wild, wonderful mountain state, and today's date is Monday, August 23rd, 2021. Man, summer's almost done. So far, well, October will be coming around the corner, right? September. But, yeah, if you hear some stomping in the background, I got the dogs playing with each other here. And nothing harmless, so it's all well and good. Ooh, man, I'm just amazed. Not surprised either on what's been occurring. But I'm not going to do a rant for the beginning, so I'm just going to go right with it as we speak. This just came out like about half hour ago from thehill.com. Says here the FDA grants full approval to Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. So if I post this on YouTube, I gotta be aware of the COVID-19 vaccine because they was inappropriate material. So that's what Justin Coleman has to say about this. The Food and Drug Administration granted the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine full approval in a highly anticipated move that is expected to boost vaccinations and spark more mandates nationwide. The federal agency reached the milestone of issuing the first complete authorization for a COVID-19 vaccine after an approximate 3-month review. Talk about fast-tracking, right? Of Pfizer's and its German partner BioNTech's application to the FDA full approval. With slightly more than half of the total U.S. population fully vaccinated, experts and Biden administration officials are hopeful the agency's full approval will serve as a catalyst for vaccinations in the country. The Pfizer's BioNTech vaccine, like the other two available in the U.S., have been given emergency use authorization, allowing it to be administered only during a public health emergency. But under the full authorization, the FDA is given permission for patients to get the shots once the public health emergency is declared over. With the emergency use authorization, more than 204 million doses of Pfizer's BioNTech vaccine have been administered across the country, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC) data. More vaccine mandates are likely to follow the FDA's fully licensure of the large 2 regimen, as some businesses, organizations, and universities were expected to wait until the full endorsement to enforce such requirements. The approval is also anticipated to motivate several Americans to get their COVID-19 shots based on a Kaiser Family Foundation poll. Found that 30% of unvaccinated people said they would be more willing to get vaccinated following the FDA's full authorization. U.S. Surgeon General Mike Murthy told CNN State of the Union on Sunday that he thinks the number of unvaccinated people that could be persuaded by full authorization is small but still significant. The FDA first granted emergency use authorization to the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine in December, followed closely after by the Moderna vaccine. Ha 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 ha. Well. So 3 months. 3 months. Not 3 years, but 3 months. It went through. Bing! Magic. The magic wand. Where's Tinkerbell? We need her, right? Yeah, and I know one thing for sure. I still go by Dr. Denise Hinton's memo about Pfizer. It may prevent from getting COVID-19. So there's no guarantees whatsoever. And of course, there are many cases, spike proteins even from Pfizer itself. But FDA approve it? Yeah, I'm going to trust it. One of those things we always got to question, folks. It's interesting because I was looking at the OpenVAERS.com website, which is reports from vaccinated adverse events reporting system. And it says here our data reflects all VAERS data, including the non-domestic reports. Read the VAERS disclaimer. There have been 595,620 reports through August 13th. Okay? Through August 13th. So, of this year. And from this date, there are 13,068 deaths, 54,142 hospitalizations, 72,699 urgent care, 98,761 office visits, 5,617 anaphylaxis, or 4,681 Bell's palsy, 1,607 miscarriages, 5,882 heart attacks, 4,861 myocarditis or pericarditis, 17,228 permanently disabled, 2,738 thrombocytopenia. Oh, hold on here, excuse me. Thrombocytopenia, which is low platelet. 13,812 life-threatening. 25,169 severe allergic reaction. 7,080 report of shingles. And there's one case here about highlighted myocarditis reports, all ages under 20. I'll just read one here for you guys. I will put this on my footnotes. Okay, from VAERS ID 1081208, age of 18. This is an 18-year-old male who is generally healthy. He received a second dose of the SARS-CoV vaccine on 3/4. The following morning, he felt feverish and achy with malaise. He stayed home, drank fluids, rested, felt well enough to come up to ski this weekend. During skiing, he had some anterior chest pains. Sorry about that. Got a little distracted there. And let's see here. It resolved. He went about this day tonight at 22:45, which is 10:45. The pain became sharp and awakened him from sleep. He felt nauseated and clammy. Right? Okay, cool. One moment, folks. I'm going to take the dogs out here, and I will finish this. Like I said, I'll get a little distracted. Gonna go out? Go ahead. So, he felt nauseated and clammy as well. Father brought him to the ER for evaluation. His emergency department evaluation showed ST elevations, most notably in the inferior and lateral leads, as well as in the lateral precordium. So, I'll just give you an example on what has happened. Of course, they say it's safe, it's efficient, and vaccine.gov, the website, with the great commercials, whether it's from federal, state, or local, doesn't matter where you're at, they want to say, I did my homework, and I taken it, yay! I did my homework because I read it from a cue card. One of those areas, folks, we always got to look at it, okay? I'm not saying everyone who's going to get it is going to die. I'm not saying anything like that, but there's a lot of reports on this. Everyone's going to be affected differently. And there's even one report, too, that a couple took the shot, and they did blood tests, and they had no antibodies in their system. So, this is just a few things I have to really look at. I'm going to have to take the initiative on reading what the FDA has to say on the approval. So go to FDA.gov on this matter, because it should be the latest report on there. I got to do it myself and see what my intake is on it. But let's say 3 months fast tracked. You got to question these things, because if you have like 13,068 deaths related to the COVID vaccine data, it should have been completely stopped. Because what happens with the swine flu was a good amount of people, a good amount of deaths were reported. Like I say, under 300, if I'm correct. I could be mistaken, but they just stopped it. Okay, what's going on with this? How come they're not? That is the thing we always gotta look at. Okay, and this is very disturbing. All right, and I'm not really too fond of this by any means. And my vaccination from natural antibodies. Always believe in being vigilant in your health. And like I probably said before, I know a lot of my other listeners who heard me for a long time understand when I go out there and did my own homework on natural remedies. That just before this whole lockdown occurred, So I'm not here to toot my horn either. But I always try to always stay focused and be aware of my health the best I can. And even the sunlight helps out too. But remember, you got a lot of goofballs, these know-it-alls, even in politics, don't know diddly squat, but they want to try to tell people how we should take care of ourselves. They can't even do it themselves. So, well, like I said, what is your intake on that? I'm gonna do like one more here. And this one here came from naturalnews.com. And this one here is entitled Holocaust Survivor Warns COVID-19 Measures Similar to Nazi Germany's Subjugation Policies. So a little bit of a past history here. And this is what Arenzio Toledo has to say. A Holocaust survivor is sounding the alarm over the encroachment of so-called public health measures to counteract the Wuhan coronavirus pandemic. She believes the policies are similar to the tactics Nazi Germany used to control entire countries. Vera Sharav is a Romanian-born Holocaust survivor and medical activist. She dedicated her life to advocating for the rights of medical research subjects in the United States. In her career, she has successfully pressured the National Institutes of Mental Health to rewrite its protocols for dozens of psychiatric studies to better protect patients. She has successfully lobbied American drug regulatory bodies to be open about the risk of giving antidepressants to teenagers. She has exposed illegal experiments that tested HIV drugs on toddlers in New York's foster care system. She also prevented the government from conducting research that would have paid low-income families $970 to test their children's reactions when exposed to certain household pesticides. Interesting. Yeah, we'll take advantage of these poor bastards. Their kids are worth that much money. Today, Sharav uses her experience in medical activism to fight anybody that don't put the rights and protections of medical patients first. Her opponents have included academic researchers, pharmaceutical executives, drug regulators, and all other kinds of so-called authorities. Now, Sharav is turning her attention to making sure people's rights are respected during the COVID-19 pandemic. Holocaust survivor sees parallels with Nazi Germany and today's public health policies. Sharav recently appeared on the podcast of author Trish Wood. Trish Wood is critical. Wood brought Sharav on the podcast to discuss the former concerns regarding the terrifying direction public health measures are going. According to Wood, she can see a lot of parallels between the narrative being used to justify COVID-19 measures, such as lockdowns, and the narrative employed by the Nazis in Germany to justify the subjugation of other people. Sharav agreed with Wood and said it was logical to see the similarities between then and now. Of particular concern to both Wood and Sharov is how many physicians and other healthcare workers today in Nazi Germany became instrumental in harming a lot of people. Specifically, Sharov pointed to how doctors during the lead up to the Nazi takeover of Germany were used to justify eugenics using the Darwinian idea of survival of the fittest. In the early part of the 20th century, the entire academic establishment was infused with genetics, stemming out of Darwin, says Sharov. What's happened with the public health policy is that public health officials decide who shall live and who shall die. She explained that this kind of mentality, that the government should get to decide who lives and dies, eventually led to the Holocaust. She is worried that this kind of mentality is still pervasive today. I have come to the conclusion that when doctors become aligned with government, and corporations for that matter, they discard their moral and professional responsibility to the individual patient, she explained. Sharov said in its nonsense for these doctors to suggest that the right thing to do is sacrifice the rights of individuals in pursuit of a so-called greater good. She mentioned this in reference to the mainstream acceptance of lockdowns. As public officials, they talk about the greater good. Who has the authority to decide what is the greater good, says Sharov. If individuals are oppressed for relegated to third-class citizens, what kind of society is it? Sharov says she believes modern society is on the cusp of turning more Nazi-like. Governments all over the world have used the pandemic and fear of getting infected as a major weapon. She argued that this has prevented people from thinking critically. Instead, people are taught to distrust other people and to isolate themselves from their communities. Instead of thinking critically, people are being taught to blindly trust public health officials and so-called experts. Hitler then, as rulers now, deferred to the health officials, said Sharov. We are constantly being told we are following the science. She warned that this will eventually lead to a complete overthrow of human civilization. And the sources you can include here, LifeSite News and StatNews.com. And I gotta say, Vera Sharov is right. If you don't learn from the past, we're damned to repeat it. This is why people looking at the Nuremberg codes. Of course, you got folks out there still want to take the vaccine. They can't even take care of themselves. It's like this, my friends. Mother Nature is a lot more complex than what you and I know. And every infection is a flaw, Achilles' heel. Even if it's a man-made, bioweapon made, and all that. That's why I look at the SARS, COVID 1 and 2. COVID 1 has been patented. All you gotta do is look it up, folks. I don't have to. All you gotta do is look it up, and it's really annoying when people out there still live in fear, still want to blame the unvaccinated for what's going on with the infection spiking, spike proteins. They're not learning about the spike proteins, and even doctors out there that try to shut them up are being supported, including the ones that are pro-vaccine are questioning what's going on, especially with these poisons. Okay. Gene therapy, they may call it. Some people won't call it vaccine, but gene therapy. It's one of those things, folks. Be vigilant on your health, regardless. Don't let the propaganda machine tell you anything else. Don't get suckered. Don't get caught hook, line, and sinker. Because if you give up your freedom for temporary security, you deserve neither. Benjamin Franklin. All right, folks, that will be it. I'd like everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns on this interesting, check out whatever you do, please send a correspondence to the quorum. Furthermore, leave the footnotes of these articles on my speaker page. If you want to send a donation, you can go to donation. Oh, good grief. Okay, I'll do that first. PayPal.me or cash.app/local luck number 3. If you want to reach me, you can go to Loki Luck number 03 at protonmail.com. All right, so, and if you want to subscribe to the Hill, that's fine. If you want to support natural news, you can do that as well. All right. Once again, thank you for your time. Please always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.